the only show that's 3 dimensions away from Blue Beetle crossing into James Gunn's DC universe. I'm your host, 3D Jake, and today we're looking at Blue Beetle, released in 2023. Blue Beetle is the latest comic book movie directed by Angel Manuel Soto. It is written by Gareth Dantelo Soco and stars Exolo Manduno, Adriana Barreza, Damian Alcázar, Susan Sarandon, and George Lopez. I'm sorry if I butchered his name. The movie is essentially about a kid, he says, paid by Exolo, who basically gets a hold of this, ancient scarab, who basically, they develop these suits. The scarab is a magic scarab, and they develop these suits with it. And, basically, the Blue Beetle suit and everything, it basically is like a suit in the scarab. And so, but it has these, superpower, kind of like Iron Man or Ant-Man suit. And, of course, whenever, they want to use it for warfare and everything. And so, and she wants to make her company more of a humanitarian company, the daughter of Ted Kord. And Ted Kord's sister, played by Susan Sarandon, wants to turn it into, a war profiteering company. So she takes the scarab and gives it to this kid who's basically graduated from high school, graduated from college, and he's like, hey, I'm all graduated now from high school and college, and I really want to be, I have ambitions and stuff, but they're like, well, we don't have any money, and you really can't do nothing because having a degree doesn't really do nothing for you nowadays. And so he ends up having to be a house cleaner, and then he gets fired for overstepping his bounds. And then, of course, he ends up getting, for overstepping his bounds, his girl offers him a job, but then when she's under investigation because, she has a scarab, she gives it to him, and then he opens it up and becomes the Blue Beetle, and then chaos ensues. The movie basically deals with a storyline about family. Family is an important thing about it. Just like with Shazam and the Fast and Furious movies, family is important to this. He has a family that they love him, and they literally they spend all their money and going broke, just like we put him through college, and so that way they can even take him out and to tip him and everything. And they even tip at the restaurant, which I really like that. I like that they're, even though they're struggling, that they're willing to give somebody else their last dollar. Just shows how great they are. And I also like that, there's really a lot of humor. It's George Lopez has, he literally is a funny character. I love some of the jokes he says in the movie. He's literally, the whole movie is just the comic relief of the movie. He has this, truck, and then, basically, the truck, Blue Beetle takes the truck to fight crime, and then, of course, it gets shot up and everything, and then it comes back, and the truck's all destroyed. I thought that was really funny. And I also thought really was funny is that how, the sister's I gotta go take a dump, I'm gonna go rich people dump, and then she goes, and then all of a sudden, when Blue Beetle, they're about to threaten Susan's friends are gonna threaten her niece, then Blue Beetle's hey, he oversteps his bounds, it's hey, don't do that, and then of course, he goes, who are you, and and then he fired them, and then of course the one girl comes out and takes a dump, it's yeah, I took a and then she gets fired for it. And I thought that was really funny and everything. I thought that was really great. And I just like how, it's it shows you, how, the good people are kind of the disenfranchised, while the bad people are, rich and powerful. And I like that aspect of it, it's and so, I like how, it kind of reminds me of Ant-Man meets Iron Man in a way, where it's he gets a suit. And I like how he gets a suit, and he's every time he lets suit really tear his clothes off, he's just naked, he has to get, new clothes and whatever's wrong, he's I thought that was pretty funny too. Every time he's I'm naked, and so I thought that was really funny and everything. And I also like that I like the suit and the design of the suit and the scarab, and also I like how he has the technology whenever he's in the little they're in his Blue the Beetlemobile whatever. And I thought that was really cool too, because it reminded me of Watchmen, which I understand that was the inspiration for it. And I also like the fact that the bad guy in the movie is kind of reminds me of Kraven the Hunter so much. To where he's just a victim, as a child soldier that ended up having to do this, and he's he saved and so he's indebted to this woman because she saved his life, when in reality he just survived the test, and he was basically you're a lapdog to me, and so that's really what it is. And I like that aspect of it, and I also really like that that the grandma in the movie just kicks ass. She literally used to be a rebel soldier, and she's just literally throwing grenades, shooting at the place and everything, and in the third act, I thought that was pretty cool. And I also like the fight scenes in the movie. I thought the fight scenes between the bad guy and the good guy, I thought that was really cool when he gets a suit on, and it's so Iron Man-ish, but it's really cool. There are some gripes I have with this movie. I really wanted Susan Sarandon to because she's the villain of the movie in a way, but she's not the main villain. Like, the main villain is the guy who looks like Kraven the Hunter. He's like, you know, which he's really, I would say, really, she's the main villain, but he's really more of a henchman that does all the fighting in the movie, if that makes sense. Like, think about like Magneto from X-Men the movie, where she's more like Magneto from X-Men the movie, where he's Sabretooth, you know, in a way. And so, like, that's kind of how it is. And, like, he literally, like, you know, and you feel bad for him because, you know, he didn't want to choose his lifestyle. It just happened this way. And there is some moments in the movie that got me really sad, where it was like really bad with like Blue Beetle. Basically, they shoot up Blue Beetle's house and everything, and like, you know, the dad has a heart attack, and like they just leave and everything. They take Blue Beetle, and it just makes me sad because the dad dies of a heart attack, and like it wasn't until the police get there they try to save him, but they couldn't do anything. And it's like if they would have just helped, and maybe like, the dad would still be alive. And I think that's what made it so sad for me to watch. You know, it's a really emotional moment. I really thought that was really great. The visual effects I don't think hold up well because it's like very like, because this movie was made to go on HBO Max, and essentially this and Batgirl were made to go on HBO Max, but then this movie tested really well, and so, you know, this movie and Evil Dead Rises tested really well, and so they're like, hey, let's put this on, you know, put this in theaters, and I'm glad it's coming out in theaters. I would like to own it physically. I hated that it would be on there forever. I think it's really great, and it sucks that it didn't do well because, you know, and it was just a weird thing that was happening with comic book movies where people weren't going to watch them and everything, and so it just, a weird thing is happening with DC films at the time, and so people weren't just going to watch them anymore because I guess they thought, well, if I don't go watch this movie, I'm waiting until James Gunn resets the universe, so I'm just going to avoid all DC movies until, you know, and which sucks because this is actually a pretty good movie, and I really think if more people saw it, I mean, obviously they said we're going to get Blue Beetle 2, but we're not going to get it, we're only going to keep the character, we're not really going to get the, you know, the whole family back, and it really sucks because it was a great introduction. I also think that, you know, Susan Sarandon's great as the villain, and there's a really funny scene where she keeps calling this one guy by a different name, and so, like, you know, I think, and so he's just like, it's not my name, and she keeps referring to this guy as the name, and then he has a very long name, and I'm just like, I can see why she called you that now. I can see why. It's like, and I thought that was really funny though. It just really made me laugh, and it's like, you know, and also I thought, Blue Beetle was really great, you know, the action and stuff. And I thought he did a really great job when he's like, you know, the suits look really great, especially the Earth shot and the building shots. The cinematography is well done. I think the direction is well done. It's not like, you know, it doesn't like, oh, the direction could have been better or that. I do think the story was pretty good. I think there could have been a few more things added. It felt like jump to the next scene. There were a couple of things where I was like, it feels like jump to the next scene, where it really felt like it should have stayed right here for a few minutes and then go here. But, you know, I did like that aspect of it, Blue Beetle, like, and I like that, you know, how, like, you know, the whole neighborhood at the end come together after their house burns down, and she's like, oh, don't worry, I'll help you build the house, and oh, this car is yours, by the way. And I thought that was really cool and everything, and like, you know, I thought that was really cool about it. And I like that, you know, how the suit looks more practical, like it's a practical suit rather than a CGI suit. And I thought the third act with the fighting and stuff was really cool in the tunnels. I thought that was great, and I like how at the end when Susan Sarandon dies, like how, like, she's like, kill him, and then all of a sudden, you know, he doesn't want to kill him because he remembers everything, and so, because she's like, Blue Beetle's just like an asset, you know, which he realized that he remembered her saying he was just an asset, so then basically he turns on her, and then he takes her and kills her and blows up with her, and I'm like, I thought that was gangster, and I thought that was really cool, and everybody thought Blue Beetle, you know, he thought George Lopez had died, and when George Lopez, oh, I'm right here, that was really cool, and this movie was really fun. I really urge people to see it. I think this movie, like, you know, is a really well done, well made movie. And it really sucks that we're not getting a sequel to this, but instead, I mean, I'm glad the character will continue with this actor, but unfortunately, we're not getting another film with this story structure. And it really sucks. But I really am looking forward to what they do with the stuff in the future. I like this movie, and I really think you should check it out. It's really fun. If I had to give this movie a grade, I would give it a solid B. Thank you so much.
Whoa! It's like Batman stuff.
Batman's a fascist.
I just wanna rock.